name is Johnny Hughes. I'm here with Helen Apia Mpofu. There's a sunrise on 3FM 92.10 and it's live. The Ghana Highway Authority on the 16th of December 2024 calls to issue this press release with a heading response to allegations of malfeasance by Samonate George MP at the Akom Axle Road load station on TV3. The attention of the Ghana Highway Authority has been drawn to a video clip from the TV3 current affairs program, The Key Points, which went viral on social media on Saturday, the 14th of December 2024. The Ghana Highway Authority wishes to state that the facts are, as presented to the Honourable Member of Parliament from Ningo Prampram, Samnati George, on the program are not entirely accurate and not borne out completely by the facts, thereby creating an erroneous depiction of the events. It's important to emphasize that the purpose of the Axle Load Control Program is not to generate revenue from the state, but rather a control program to prevent the deterioration of the trunk loads because of overloading and vehicles exceeding the allowable heights. Well, this is signed by the Public Affairs Department. It's quite lengthy, so we'll redact at this point and speak with the man who speaks for the Ghana Highway Authority, Cecil Obodaiwentum. I'm sure you miss him on radio. Yeah, but he's here. Cecil, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, Grandpa.
Good to see you.
I'm happy to see you all the time, you know. And good to know the good work you're doing for Ghana. I've always said it, if we miss out on media, then we have no space to operate.
Right.
Great. So for the information put out there by Honorable Sam Nate George, my younger brother and a very good friend, I say that it's good for us to start a conversation.
Right.
Because I remember my attention was called to his program and quickly sent him a text.
Right.
And asked him to call me. So after his program, he called.
Right.
And we shared a few details or pointers. And I made it clear to him that yes, it is true that these things are going on.
Right.
Some of the things that he's talked about, like the revenues and all that.
Right.
Yes, but it's something that has been underreported. So you'll be surprised when the audit report comes out. You might even be shocked to get to know, I mean, the extent of leakage we're talking about. But where does that leakage go? I mean, goes to. It is something that we must be worried about and sit as a country to see how we can block some of these things.
Okay.
But it is all not accurate entirely. What information?
What did he say
out there?
Exactly, which?
Well, if I heard him right, he said a lady came to him with some information that when she took over, this was the amount of money, and he mentioned a couple of amounts. Some previous, he mentioned two names, one Kwashi, one Katako, what they were generating at the time. And then the lady took over, and all of a sudden she started recording 3 million Ghana cedis a month. And then averagely from the months from March, April, May, June, and then all of a sudden she was called and cautioned that she's overstepping her revenue, whatever, and so KPIs. I am paraphrasing him.
Right.
And
okay. Let's, for the avoidance of doubt, let's listen to Sam Nate George MP. Because we are playing two things at the same time. Let's focus on one as we can find.
One endpoint in the country. A woman came to me yesterday with evidence, and my heart broke down. I told her I would speak about it here today. She works at an axle load station. And now I need to please listen to me. She does not work at a start point or an end point. She works at an axle load station midway in the country. In November this year, she was sacked from office, from post, and told to go home that they can't work with her. You know why? In 2023, her axle weight station, at that time, the person who was managing it was called David Kwashi. And I'm putting out the facts. In January 2023, that Axle load station generated 235,266 Ghana cedis. In February, 175,005 Ghana cedis. In March, 323,214 Ghana cedis. And I can give you the whole year. The highest was in December, where it recorded 608,159 Ghana cedis. This was 2023. In 2024, a gentleman called Katako Castro took over. In January, he recorded 365,697 Ghana cedis. In February 2024, 498,808 Ghana cedis. And then in March, from 1st of March to 12th March, he recorded 351,256. Then this lady takes over. This lady, I don't want to put out her name yet. 2.7. She takes over in March, on the 13th of March. From 13th of March to 31st March, her revenue she generates is 1,266,847. By the time she works in the whole of April, she generates 3,140,831. In May, it drops to 2,140,531. June, 2,018,731. July, 2,653,622. August, 2,908,178. In September, 3,251,256. October, 3,758,378. Between 1st November to 10th November, 1,365,524. Do you realize what was happening? The average rate of revenue from that axle weight station was 250,000. As soon as this lady takes over, her average is 3 million Ghana cedis. She was called by the Highways Authority and told that she was raising too much revenue because there's a cartel that drains the money that is raised and declares only average of 250,000 every month. One axle weight station. This is one. And so imagine that these vehicles have gone through a number of axle weight loading stations across the country before they get to her place. And from her place, they continue. And this is what the revenue loss is. Because there are people sitting at highways. And the matter went to Asensu Boache. He said he was going to investigate. Because when he saw the figures, look, there is no way you will see these figures and not understand what is happening. Then she was told to go home because she's NDC. Oh. Yes. So these are the kinds of slippages and leak in our system that we need to collectively work as a country to plug. One axle load station.
And she was laid off.
Oh, she's been sent home. Since 10th of November, she's been sacked from the Highways Authority. And I would wage a campaign and a war to ensure that this woman is reinstated. Because these are the kind of Ghanaians we must celebrate. In fact, she reported to the BNI in June this year, that her life is under risk because she was told that she must not exceed 1 million again. And when she was given that order, she started getting 3 million. And now they sacked her. The BNI could not protect her. Under Akufo-Addo, I'm talking about 2024. I have the names of the people who were behind this. But you see, like I said, Operation Recover All Loot. Oral will come after all of them. From the people at Highways Authority who are involved in the scam and the stealing of axle load. So imagine if you had 10 axle weighing stations across the country. And they are making revenue of at least 3 million Ghana cedis in one station. And they are declaring 250,000 every month. Some people are sitting back and gleaning 2.5 million, 2.75 million from one axle station. Over 10 axle stations, that's 27.5 million Ghana cedis every month. This is what we are bleeding as a country.
Okay, so those are excerpts of what Sam Nati George put out there. It says so. He makes very, very, damning comments.
That's why
the quantum of money. First of all, look at it. What are your figures?
We have 22 axle load stations across the country.
Right.
So he was even mentioning 10. But that's not the kind of figures that come from all the 22 axle load stations. And let me make this point very clear that our axle load stations are not revenue generating units of the Ghana Highway Authority.
Okay. What are they?
It's a control program.
Okay.
It follows compliance. It is geared towards compliance. So the thing is that You get there, you are overloaded.
All right.
We will shed off your excess load.
All right.
You pay a fine, and then you continue. So to the transporter, it is more expensive to engage in overloading your trucks.
Right.
You understand? So when you get to all the axle load stations, obviously you go through the checkpoints. They take your weights. They realize that you have overloaded your trucks.
Right.
They shed off the excess load.
But when you say they shed off, they take them off.
They take off, yes.
And then they seize them.
And
you
then
confiscate them?
No. So what you do is that as a transporter, you have to look for an additional vehicle to come and cut
and take
the
them
excess,
away.
excess load away.
Right.
If you compare that to where you're traveling to, you can imagine the cost it brings to you. So I don't think transporters would love to do that. But Johnny, my brother, this is where you have to understand. It's a very complicated environment. And over the period, since I joined, I have followed them even before I joined the highway authority.
Right.
And I've noticed the number of transformational measures, operational efficiencies they have brought in place to curb or reduce the interference as far as human beings and money is concerned.
I see.
But you know, human beings will always be very smart to take the lead ahead of you and then do certain things. But let me emphasize this point again. Our axle load stations are not revenue generating. So when we make it sound as though we are raking in so much money and it's going as a leakage, it's a worrisome situation for me.
He mentioned certain
rather
things.
The moment you hear that somebody is making so much money or a supervisor is that should give you a worry, because it's the previous figures he mentioned should rather tell you that there were deterrents at those various stations because a number of vehicles were not arrested to pay fines. Do you get the argument I'm making?
Right. So now that you have more revenue coming in, I mean that compliance is being applied.
Compliance is also being abused in a way.
Okay.
Because if you read our statement yesterday, we indicated, if you go to point 5, point 6, that audit was launched.
That's right.
And they moved in and realized that
there
were discrepancies in reporting of raw data that was sent to head office compared to what they have generated.
Okay.
To a point that even in the same statement, we have indicated that people have moved and edited data. And I'll show you records here before I leave.
I'm interested. Now, Sam George also makes mention of the fact that people sit at the headquarters or other places and they are cashing out.
So those ones, they are allegations. I support Honorable Sam George. I have worked with him in the past. I mean, as a broadcaster at GBC, where he used to feature on my programs and all that. I have known him as a brother. I appreciate his passion, his zeal to get things done for Mother Ghana. But I'm saying that it's not everything that he has said that is very accurate.
So let's take the ones that are not accurate.
So what I'm saying is that
so that the ones that are accurate can now drill down and deal with it.
The axle load stations are not revenue generating.
But
that's not accurate.
But then if there's an infraction,
he made it sound like they are revenue generating and then money is being
charged. But you have just explained that they are not revenue generating points.
Units.
You come, you have an overload.
You have to shed off.
The load is shed, and then you have to pay a fine.
Yes.
And then get a vehicle.
And that fine obviously will come to stay. That
Right.
fine is deterrent enough to prevent you from coming over again loaded.
So where does that money go?
Thank you. So this is what preliminary investigations established.
Okay.
That the discrepancies in our statement that we mentioned earlier was detected, that their raw data that they provide does not support what they actually have recorded or sent to head office. So when you move in, that's why we even said, listen to this point again, raw data downloaded directly from the software by the audit team revealed figures that were completely at variance with the returns submitted by the supervisor, and pointed to the fact that the software data were being edited, and in some cases transactions were fraudulently deleted from the software to conceal that from management. Isn't it that criminal enough? Johnny.
Have you reported this? Have you put them before?
So I'm telling you that these are preliminary investigations. As I speak to you, investigations are still underway. But what this lady is up to, me, to be frank with you, I don't
Why was she sacked? Was she sacked?
She has not been sacked. And let me make this point clear again. Again, in our statement, we indicated point number 8, that the supervisor has not been dismissed. Rather, her appointment, just like all other colleagues, was for a duration of 6 months. Because don't forget, they are not members of staff like I am.
They
We
are
have
ad hoc
engaged
staff.
them. We have engaged them. So they are more like contract staff. 6 months. Came to an end in November 6th, 2024.
Okay, use the microphone for me.
Even though she reapplied for the position with some of her colleagues, because of the preliminary investigations that started earlier, queries were sent to her. She never responded to any of those queries. She never.
The lady who gave Sam George
in question. Yes. So we have been quiet over this, but the fact that Honorable Sam George is out with this information is also forced us to come out and say all of these things, because and up until today, she has not even responded to any of those queries, and yet she thinks that she can go around with some of these figures to make her picture or her story very palatable for people to know. But if you get to know finally when the audit report is out, you will cry for Mother Ghana and pity us as officials of Ghana, because as Honorable presented it, it's as though there's a cartel.
That's right.
And anytime I hear this, I feel very, very sad, because of the integrity that I've built over the years, and all others that work at Ghana Highway Authority. I'm sure listening to me today will feel very sad that sometimes we don't even have direct contact or connection with some of these people. But then at the end of the day, we get to hear. Don't forget what Honorable Amwakwata, the former minister of road, started about these tolls and then this axle load and all that. We brought in the national security. What happened? At the end of the day, he was even disappointed. That does not mean that it has stopped. Even after he is left, this current minister, Honorable Sam George, also mentioned that he went to Honorable Asenso Boachi. He did nothing about it. I don't know whether he knows whether something, but as I speak to you, investigations are underway. If he did nothing, we will not be investigating this.
How long is this investigation going to take? Do we know?
So I am hoping that with this expose or the
public announcement by Sam George, which now has caused you to respond.
Our audit team will quickly finalize their report and then bring it out.
But was the lady indeed told that she should not go beyond the threshold, the 1 million, all these figures that Sam George was talking about?
So let me put it.
She went to the BNI.
Let me put it in a very nice way. I don't know who spoke to her, and I've not been told whether somebody told her. But these are allegations being raised by Honorable Sam George that the lady told her. That the lady told him that she was informed not to go beyond a certain threshold. You see, the point is that if I run or I supervise an axle load station, and Johnny, you come to me a month and give me a report of raising 2 million cedis, I will be alarmed. You don't think so? I will be alarmed because it is not supposed to be so. I will be alarmed.
But if people are committing the mistakes.
But this is the situation where people are committing those blunder you're talking about. And yet, she doesn't shed off their weight or their excess load. She takes the money, records it, and then she allows them to go. And they use the road. And Johnny, let me tell you, drive on the Accra Kumasi road, you will weep. I know you have done it a number of times. Don't you see those vehicles?
After Pokwasi getting
don't you see those vehicles?
Area, it's quite
Johnny,
bad.
don't you see those vehicles? Look, I received a message from my chief executive. Look, the West is that main foreign vehicles have a field day with our overloading and destroying our roads. Look at this vehicle. Then he goes on to tell me that this Burkina Faso vehicle was carrying 200 tons instead of 76 tons from Tema to Burkina Faso, where
But the officers are supposed to be there to be checking these things.
So that's what I'm telling you. They are supposed to shed off their excess load, and yet they go through. So if you go through this point, like I'm saying, this Akom station, and Akom is a very busy station. Do you know why?
Tell me.
It is strategically located. Because, and there's the reason for which we are recording high overloads around that stretch, because trucks from Central Region, Western Region, moving to the north, Kumasi and its environs, Greater Accra, and parts of Eastern Region all go through.
So it's a central point.
I'm telling you, it's a very busy, it's a hotspot. And if you get to know what happens there, Johnny, you'll be shocked. You see, we spoke in our statement. We indicated that they move into the system and alter and
data.
Delete.
Right.
That is criminal, isn't it?
Of course it is.
Good.
On the face value.
I am only waiting for the audit report. It must serve as an input for the anti-graft institutions or the police to take it up and then continue with the investigations.
Right.
But the fact that she has decided to go out and make it public and now go and touch the tail of Jatta. You know Jatta?
The lion.
Honorable Sam George.
Right.
Is Jatta. To touch his tail, she must be ready. Because you can't touch the tail of Jatta and go scot-free.
Sam George seems to have made a point for her that he will go on until the lady is reinstated. So is there an opportunity like that for her?
We have indicated that management is here to make a decision on her re-engagement.
But
that will also be dependent on the final report that comes out. But I can tell you, it is not a palatable report. I can tell you.
From what you know.
I can bet you, my brother, you will be surprised. UPC, sometimes people take the lead and do certain things. And I sit back and I say, Charlie, sometimes it's better to be quiet. You understand? But I want to use this opportunity to also salute all the officers at Ghana Highway Authority. The way we've stood behind the Axle Load Unit to fight some of these things. It started not today, like I said, the days of Honorable Amakwata. And then our current minister, who under his supervision, we have also seen some investigations, kind of investigations underway to get to the bottom of this matter. So it shouldn't look like nothing has been done. But when you are fighting corruption, like I said earlier on your sister station, you don't do it physically with your hands alone. You need to engage your spiritual forces, emotional forces, and everything so that you can win the battle. There's something that I want to talk about
quickly.
Overloaded vehicles are destroying our pavements. And it's important. Johnny, let me tell you, it's not every time that you get to see some of the roads and you say, oh, this is shoddy work. They did this road in less than 5 years. It's broken down. I know the zeal with which you have spoken over some of these things. Personally, you have even shared pothole situations with me that I have received from you. And I tell you that the problem is not only about shoddy work. The problem is about the weight and the fact that we don't respect weight. Weight, look, Johnny, I was telling somebody this morning, it's a critical factor in our industry, just as it is in the aviation sector. You have traveled, I know, out of the country. Have you been to the airport overloaded?
No.
You have weight,
you
and then
your luggage.
You insist that they should check you on board.
Ask Helen.
They should check you on board. Have you done that?
About trouble return.
Good. The thing is that even when you force them, they will fine you. You pay a fine.
Extra,
Do you know why? They will fine you so that they make it deterrent for others. Because if you come and you don't have that amount of money, you can't pay. But then they have allowable limits.
That's right.
Why are we not thinking the same for the road sector? The road, as you see, is designed to carry a particular load, a specific load. Why are we also not thinking? So if we have put in regulations to address that, why are people blatantly violating that? Look at the tracks I showed you from Burkina Faso, moving from Tema all the way. You think when they get to their country, they do that, they shed off their weight. Look, me, I've been to Burkina Faso, I've been to Togo, I've been to Benin, I've been to Nigeria, I've been to Abidjan. I'm telling you, you can't do this on their roads. But anytime we travel on our roads, we see this. In fact, let me borrow, I don't want to use that word. The nonsense is too much on our roads.
What kind of checks go into contracting these ad hoc officers who you engage for 6 months?
Johnny, let me tell you.
Yes, sir.
Growing up, a mate of mine at the university told me he was going to work at civil aviation. Not as a flight engineer or something, but he was taking up a security position at airports. And I was like, why would you go to university and then? But later on, I got to appreciate why it is so. You see, we must also consider the people we engage to man such stations. And this one, I have not sought authority from my executives to say this, but this is my personal opinion, separate me from the position of my office. I think that, you see, when people are not educated, they behave foolishly. Excuse my word this morning.
But you are angry, Tunda.
So, I mean, which is true.
It's painful.
It is. You see, when people, no, seriously, me, you know, less than 2 months ago, I arrested a truck at the airport. I don't know whether you heard it. When you are approaching the President Kufuor's area, you see the overhead, the rail crossing.
That's right.
I personally got out of my vehicle, parked in front of the vehicle, arrested the truck less than 2 months ago. I got the truck back to airport police station. I'm putting this on record. What happened to the truck? Fully overloaded. I called my officers from Temamoto Way. They came, we checked. The height was beyond the allowable limit. The weight beyond allowable limit.
And you gave this person to the police. You handed him over to the police.
I went to airport. I made calls. And in the short time, there were police officers, and then they marched them to drive in reverse gear all the way to airport police station. They must come and tell me, where is that vehicle today? Where is that vehicle? Where is the vehicle?
Wow.
Johnny, where is that vehicle today? I even said it, that I will even make it known to IGP openly. Where is that vehicle? Airport police station. So you see, so Johnny, this fight is not only my battle.
Right.
It is your battle. You have the authority as a citizen, like you have been doing, to come across some of those vehicles and also stop them.
But Cecil, then that would mean that the state is fighting against the state, or the state is not working with the state. Because if you are a state, I can agree with you. If you're a state actor, you saw an infraction being done. You were worried about it. You made calls. You took the person to a police station, handed the person over to law enforcement agency, and now you say.
And nobody is telling me anything. Nobody is saying. I mean, nobody. I asked my Axle load people. They said they went there. I mean, that's the thing. So, Johnny, we are battling a very complicated issue here, and I want to use this opportunity to appeal to the incoming government.
Right.
Look, the investments we have made in the road sector, you know it. If we don't maintain the roads and we don't protect it in the shortest possible time, we will lose all of them. And maintenance is the key thing, because weight is a factor. As I said, weight is a factor, a very critical factor. And if this incoming government does not look at it from that point, all the investments we have done as a country in our road sector to build all these roads, both urban, trunk, and all that. Look at the investments we have put in the Accra-Kumasi stretch. The what do you call it? The rehabilitation work going on.
Right.
Just look at it, and you think it is what? You think it is just? It is. Look, Master, let me tell you, it is overloading that has caused, and so we must recalibrate the system in a way that at our various Axle load stations we must have men and women of integrity who will man those stations.
But that's why I asked you. I mean, what kind of considerations do we make before we give people
Johnny,
set trusted spaces to hold? Because look, Johnny, at the point where the load is put on the truck, there's somebody there who's supposed to check. And then along the road, when you're going all the way to the top,
Johnny, let me tell you something.
Somebody who's supposed
to
be checking.
There was a time I took a trip to the harbor with my camera guys.
Right.
We went there. I sought permission because it's a security area. So, but I mean, I moved with the operations people.
Right.
I checked their weighing systems. I checked. Everything is perfect. So you ask yourself, at the time they leave the port, by the time they get to the next Axle load station, what happens?
Right.
Thank you. What happens? Thank you. Do you think they don't have weighing systems? They have. It's the reason for which we are even going to enforce some of the regulations that all manufacturing companies must even have weighing systems. Mining centers, you mentioned them. Manufacturing, they must all have weighing systems. Before you set out from the compound, we must be sure of the weight and the load you are carrying on our road.
Okay, Cecil, we have to go. Your closing thoughts. So the understanding I have is that after Sam George, MP for Ningo Prapram, spoke on key points, you both have had cause to have a conversation. You sent him a text message.
Yeah, I did. We spoke. We spoke. I'm yet to engage him. You know, Parliament has resumed.
Right.
So the whole of yesterday, I mean, he's been a very busy person. I am sure he has seen the statement we have issued. And it's very possible that he has seen it. I mean, knowing how savvy he is with, ICT and all, I'm sure he has seen it. And so I will find the time and then engage him. And then we will see how we can take up this matter. But we should wait patiently. Ghanaians must wait patiently. We must be patient for the report to come out. And then people who are found culpable will be dealt with by the law. Because we have indicated it in our statement, will be dealt with by the law.
By the law.
Yes.
Okay.
But let's all have at the back of our minds that the engineers design road with load in mind, with weight in mind. So you see some of the roads, they are designed and they have a lifespan, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. The concrete ones, 50 years and that kind of thing. Same with our bridges.
So why do we see those big trucks driving through residential areas?
Exactly.
Overloaded.
Exactly. That's why we are mounting gantries. You know, when we started the work on the Accra Waterway, the overpass that connects to East Legon, we had to mount gantries. You know the number of times they knocked down those gantries. And how do you think that happened? Lawlessness and discipline on the part of the Ghanaian. Sometimes we even support them. The day I met the track around airport, there were Ghanaians using motorbikes ahead of them, directing them where to pass. And they had gotten to the point where they had hit the soffit of the bridge. The soffit is the Charlie, Johnny, you have no idea. And it took the bravado in me. And I stopped them. And I managed to move that track all the way to airport. So they are hitting our bridges. Go to Achimota, Apenkwa.
Right.
You know that bridge has suffered a lot.
Yes, it's
suffered a lot.
Right.
They sometimes get down, chisel the soffit of the bridge, or deflate their ties so that the height of the vehicle will come down, and then they drive on the Massa. Charlie.
Finally,
yeah, man.
They circle Dubai. Are we supposed to have those huge trucks go on the overpass?
Yeah, no, but when this thing started, there was a time even the vehicle...
Yes, I saw that. I did that report for TV3.
Yes.
But why do we then allow it? Why can't we see some policemen?
That is why, even approaching that bridge, we have even indicated. You see the limits.
That's right.
The signage. I can also understand a number of times some of these things are also ripped off. Do you know why?
No.
Because we have some vagabonds amongst us. We have some unpatriotic citizens who go and tear those things and scrap them. Johnny, watasanehi in Malebu, watasanehi. If you know the number of our road signs that go down every day, just because people go and scrap them, they cut them. So at the end of the day, you come back to the same table. We're going to look for money again now to go and take from that stretch all the way through Kandishi, Kaswa. You mentioned, you realize that even some of the signages have all been removed. You think it happened just like that? No, deliberate. People are cutting the traffic lights. They are removing the respondents, the transpondents, they call it. They are removing them. They are scrapping them. They are removing bolts and nuts on the crash barriers that we have fixed. They go in the night. They pretend they are mad people or mentally deranged people. They are lying there looking very dirty. They are holding spanners and screwdrivers.
In fact, the new one, the Obechebi Lamte, overpass. Yes. Right? If you see the rails on the side, they're coming off. Somebody is losing boats.
Ajie boats cannot say.
Obodai, thank you very much for coming through. We're grateful and for the clarity
Johnny,
as well.
Thank you very much.
We're grateful.
So let's wait. I'll share the reports with you.
We will be happy to have the report.
Great.
Thank you very much. Cecil Obodai Wentum speaks for the Ghana Highway Authority, and this morning he's been here in the studio to share some clarity with us, and we'll wait for the report in a bit.